Are you ready for the Low Blows Network? And so our watch continues as each week we break down the new episode and say a long farewell to Game of Thrones. Spoilers are coming, and the latest episode, A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, is here. So let's break down what happened. You're listening to the latest edition of Game of Low Blows. And in this week's Game of Thrones, Jaime gets off the hook for that whole king-slaying business, and Brienne gets knighted as a reward. Arya gets the spear she was looking for from Gendry, and I'm not talking about Dragonglass. Tyrion gets a bollocking for being about as useful as a hand as his brother's golden one. Sansa bonds with her brother's cousin's new boo before her captor turned rescuer kind of raised like her brother as a kid, but not really. Also sacked her home and killed her people. Now he's got no penis. Friend Theon returns, so naturally they're in love now. Bran reveals that the Night King is after him as the good guys make last minute plans for the Battle of Winterfell. Jon and Dany have that awkward moment where you tell your new girlfriend that you're related and are actually way more qualified for the job than her. The crypts are so safe. I don't know if you've heard this, they're so safe. They could not be safer, by the way, but Winterfell is not, as the army of the dead are here and the battle is about to commence. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to Game of Low Blows. Rick Nash here, as always. Joining me this week, as per usual, we have the Queen of Irish Wrestling, Katey Harvey. Katey, you took a bit of shit last week on Twitter for your views on Sansa and Theon. Like, I was surprised by that. Theon, not so much. Like, fuck Theon. But, like, Sansa, people were not happy.
Well, I don't understand why people are hating on Sansa. Like, she literally has been through the most on the show, came out the other side, has had a great character arc, and, like, should sit on the Iron Throne now. And people are just giving her shit.
Are you going to have to go full feminist icon here? Like?
I think I might, because between her and Arya this week, the reaction on Twitter, which we could talk about later, like I'm like full feminist behind the Starks. I'll fight to the death for them. Like, okay,
interesting. Corbett Keane, you kind of last week had a catching up on Game of Thrones. We discovered you're a lot more casual than we maybe perhaps realised, and asked you to do this show every week. How are you getting on? Are you kind of clicking back into it? Are you still confused, or how are you going?
Seems I think I get it now. I think maybe
you get the whole Game of Thrones business. Did you know who everyone was this week?
Yeah, kind of.
Say that. There's a hit of doubt there that I just kind of want to tap into. I suppose we will as we go along. Joining us this week as our very special guest to discuss it all, the one and only J Money Worldwide.
7 kingdoms wide.
7 kingdoms wide.
7 kingdoms wide.
I love it. So you're a big Game of Thrones fan. Are you like kind of talk to me about your level of fandom? Like, so we had Valkyrie on last week, obviously super fan, looking up all the theories. What's kind of your level?
I am nowhere near. She was intimidating as a fan. As soon as the episode starts and she's like, she had the number of days since the last episode, and I was like, you need more in your life. And you're a busy person. You have a lot. You got a lot going on. No, I have been day one. I'm not on a single continuous break my arms binge like Queen Katey, but I've been watching every week since day one. J Money always pays his debts.
Yes, always. I love it. Getting it straight away. Well, you brought up an interesting point there, because
did I?
Yeah. while you were firing shots at the Irish wrestling Game of Thrones fandom scene, you did bring up an interesting point, because not everyone is, and we discovered this with Keane last week. Not everyone is a super fan, like reading up on all the latest kind of theories online, watching YouTube videos non-stop. And with Keane, we kind of realised there's a lot of casual Game of Thrones fans who wouldn't know. Like, I was out during the week. I watched Game of Thrones, so you know the way they're showing it. They're showing it here in our friends at Buskers and the Ball every week. I went out to the back page. I was meeting up with a few friends. It was actually a pretty decent night. I thought it wouldn't. I thought it'd be a bit shit, but like it was decent to watch it with people, and you realise that people don't necessarily know we all assume everyone's a massive geek and knows about Bran is the Night King and this and that and the other. And then you get talking to Cian, and he's like, "Where's your man who used to breastfeed? Where's Robin?"
I had the same question. You can't just not address it. Look, we have time. We'll get to it. I have several hot takes prepared for the episode. But they will be dropped with no notice.
But this is it exactly. Like so what we've decided to do is for the more casual listeners like Cian who aren't paying attention to all the theories and whatnot, we've asked Cian to come up with a segment where he asks there's no such thing as a stupid question. There was a few last week, but like we want you to ask the questions and we'll explain it to you, the things you're wondering as you're going along. So we're going to call it Cian's questions. Cian, what do you want to know? What came into your head while you were watching this episode?
All right, so I just had 3 questions, right?
Right.
First one. You know when Sansa and Daenerys are in the room, and they're chatting to each other?
Yeah.
Who was the lad that was talking to Sansa before that?
Do you know who he's really good mates with?
Who?
Robin Arryn.
What?
He's from the Vale.
No way!
Yeah, he's the leader of the army in the Vale. I know how to sell Cian on stuff. Just bring up Robin Arryn. That's just Eric Rowan. He's the leader of the army in the Vale.
How's anyone meant to know that though?
Because he's got a really weird voice, I guess. He's like, Lady Sansa.
He was a significant character for many seasons.
Yeah.
That's how most people
that's what
know.
he looks familiar, but I don't know his name. Like, what's his name?
Oh, I don't know his name. I just know I just know what he looks like. I can just place faces.
Yeah. So, and his voice as well is quite distinctive. Like so. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, that's who he is.
Right.
Question 2.
My second question is, what if like the dead are actually like the good guys? Because I mean, like what? Because everybody's killing each other over the Iron Throne, yeah. Like humans are killing humans and shit. The dead lads all seem to be on the same page. So I mean, maybe it's good that they take over and kill everyone. Everyone will be on the same page then.
The dead lads hung a child on a wall surrounded by limbs.
But look, I mean, we all have our like.
They've massacred massive amounts of humans and razed their cities and.
Yeah, but that's so that the humans die and then they can all be on the same page afterwards.
The Night King takes sacrificed babies.
That's, again, not the nicest on paper, but when you actually analyse it, you know, there's layers to it, like, you can question it.
Is there?
I mean, yeah.
I mean, I can kind of understand because Craster was the one sacrificing them, so that's bad on the human side. So Craster was the man who had the child, the girls that were his daughters, and he'd also marry them and then impregnate them.
Oh,
and then
when Walter Frey?
No, Walder Frey was the guy at the Red Wedding who killed all the Starks.
Who's... I remember.
They look very similar in your defense.
They do, to be fair. Yeah, they're both old, kind of crotchety, weird guys.
Craster was in the weird little shack out in the freezing cold.
Gilly's...
Okay, I remember the difference now.
Okay, there we go. So, they could be the good guys. We don't know. It would seem unlikely, though, given the evidence, especially, like, killing children frowned upon.
What you've gone and done is made some sort of combination Darth Vader-Hitler argument. where like, well, they provided a lot of jobs making that Death Star, and everyone seemed pretty on board, and at least everyone in the Third Reich seemed to agree on things, regardless of what those things were. And while I appreciate the sentiment, I think the layers you mentioned earlier, they don't really hold up.
Okay.
Look, say what you want about Hitler. The man could build a road. That's what I'm saying.
Final question.
Third question.
Final question's not as deep. Just you probably have the answer for this. Maybe I think. What happened to the fire one? I don't know her name. The fire one, the red hair one. That.
Melisandre. Yeah.
Is that her name?
Yeah. She went off because she brought Jon and Daenerys together last season.
Yeah.
But Jon had banished her from Winterfell and said the next time he sees her, he's going to hang her because he heard that she had burned Shireen, that's Stannis' daughter, at the stake. He heard about that, so he said, right, you saved my life, I'm not going to kill you, but if I ever see you again, I will kill you. So she to bail.
Oh, she's welcome back.
But she did say she'd be back. She said, I have to die in this strange country, she said. So it does seem like she'll be back at some stage, though we don't know how. So
all right, okay.
You're right, you're good, you're up to date. Yeah, okay. All right, there we go, we're getting there, slowly but surely. Guys, the questions I think everyone at home had. You've got to hear. Great episode. I really enjoyed this episode. A lot of people did. You'll always get people coming on when there's not a battle or dragons or zombies and be like, it's filler, but for once, it's one of these episodes where everyone was on the same page. It was nice. But, J Money, to get started off, what was some of your kind of favourite moments from this episode? What kind of hit home for you?
Okay, here's my first hot take.
Okay.
Okay, you know who's going to get the throne?
Who?
Gendry.
Oh, snap. He's getting a lot lately.
He's doing well.
Yeah.
I would say if anyone has momentum at this point in the fight, Gendry's doing well. And once he takes over the Seven Kingdoms, you know what they're going to go through? Gendrification.
Oh, God.
Gendrification.
So that theory was just for the punchline, yeah?
It wasn't just for the punchline, but it was predominantly for the punchline. No, he was doing great. So I think he was swinging hammers. You know, he was slinging something else.
He was spearing a lot.
It turned out. You know what else was on that list? Dat D. Killing it.
Yeah.
Just killing it. Who saw that coming?
But,
everyone.
you know, like in wrestling, where like somebody wins on Raw and they lose at the pay-per-view. Do you not think that might happen?
Yeah, very possible.
Yeah.
I think they've built me up to bring me down.
If this was like a wrestling storyline, he's definitely losing at the pay-per-view. And by that I mean dying in this next episode. But no, there's a lot of things I don't get that. I like Gendry, and I'm all up for, like, what would you call them? Genria? Genya?
Genaria?
Genaria. Garia.
Gary?
We'll
Sounds
go.
like something one of them caught.
But I'm all up for that, yeah. But, like, I don't know. There's a lot of people who are behind this whole theory that he's going to sit in the Iron Throne.
When you said, I think you said last week, you know, you expect a lot of people at the top can die. You know, Jon and Dany might just take each other out.
Yep.
That ice might melt that fire, and then that's the other way around. Maybe it becomes not
the Night King is going to do some things.
Yeah.
Mess with physics.
It becomes kind of the game of who's left at some point, and he has a semi-legitimate claim.
He does.
And you know, if anyone could foolishly sit here and say that Sansa could end up on the throne, Sansa of all people, why not Gendry?
That's the hashtag. Why not Gendry?
That's the least inspiring hashtag.
But that's what I imagine his, like, because he's not a power hungry guy. He's like, why not me? Why not? Sure, go on.
He's the Kofi.
He's the Kofi King.
Why not Kofi?
Yeah, this was it.
After 11 years, you will run out of answers to that question.
Katie, Harvey, what was some of your favourite moments in this episode?
I really like the scene with Arya as well, and I don't know if some people might have seen my tweet earlier. I was on the bus on the way to work, and I had these two young lads talking about the scene, and they were disgusted. They were like, you know what, it completely ruined Arya's character, and I'm so disturbed by what I seen. Right. And I was like, obviously, I'm an eavesdropper, so I listened in real close. And they're talking about the sex scene, and I'm like, so, like, they'd been discussing Game of Thrones for like 20 minutes at stage, and they were fine with the incest, the rape, the fucking everything else in it, the child murder, everything. But no, Arya getting a ride, too far for them. And I was just like, it's just such double standards. It was such a sweet end to their whole story. I mean, apart from like her lying in the bed with her eyes wide open, probably realising she's a lesbian afterwards, which is a theory I've seen online and could be true after a rewatch. But yeah, I love that whole scene. I thought it was really sweet, and I really like how she just took control. Like,
yeah, like fair play to her. Like, I think I put down in my list. I'm like, it was weird seeing that. Like, it was strange and just like brought up a lot of mixed emotions in me. And it's not even that I'm saying it was wrong. Like, it's kind of funny that happened in episode 69. By the way, I'm just saying, like, it was a nice little nod. Keith's gone over there. But it was weird. Like, I do have to say, I'm not saying they were wrong to do it.
No, the lads are saying, like, it made my skin crawl. And I was like, all right, lads. You're 18. You've probably had sex with other 18-year-old girls.
Maybe not if they're talking about 18.
Sex is just gross, to be honest. The thing, I had to pause. I was like, number one, I thought it really fit the character. I thought it was a great scene. I thought, like, well, obviously that's, if she's going to do anything, it's going to be that. Like, she's, I would argue, the second baddest bitch in the game. After obviously Lyanna Mormont.
Yeah. No, I agree. Yeah.
But I think I couldn't get out of my head. I had to do the maths.
Yeah.
I had to run them numbers and be like, how old is anyone involved in this moment?
Yeah.
And only once those numbers had gone through my head, I was like, oh, okay, this is nicer.
It's also that as well. You look at her, and it's because like she looks young. Like, she put out a tweet where she's like, "If you guys thought you were uncomfortable with my parents and brothers and sisters, but like, so she gets it. She does look young, and also we followed her since she was a child. Like, we followed that character. If I saw a movie with Maisie Williams in it, and she got her kid off, I'd be like, okay, right, fine. but like it's following that character. It reminds me of Harry Potter, where in the second last movie, Hermione gets naked, and you're just like, like okay, like on one hand you're really hot, but like on the other, I followed this character since you were 11, and I still do think of you as a child.
Yeah.
So I'm like, and then it just kept going, where it's like, initially I was like, they're kissing, I'm like, yeah, they're doing it, yeah. But then it's like, the scene just kept going, and it's like, alright, she's stripping, right. I felt like they could have just, like, went downwards onto a bed, and I'd have got the same thing, and then it's like, there's Arya's arse. Alright, there's Arya's side boob. Alright, this is what's gonna happen.
But like, I know we know Arya better, but we've seen Podrick grow up. We've seen him go to a brothel. You know, we didn't see him actually.
This is it.
I'm still curious to see. I want to know what he did to those prostitutes. Like,
sex god pod.
But like, everyone was fine with that, applauding him even.
Okay.
And like, he grew up in front of us as well. So I don't understand such a like violent reaction towards Arya.
I hadn't thought about it that way, and that is fair enough.
So the patriarchy is a thing where men will treat women different. Okay.
Mansplaining the patriarchy.
This show is getting meta.
I did get my moment I wanted last week, though.
Yes.
I got my Jorah and Lyanna interaction. Yeah, which I loved. And it was just such a small little scene, but it was like, again, just the fact they were having a civil conversation, like it kind of him being more accepted by his family. The fact that she wasn't just like, fuck off, don't tell me what to do. Like they had like a civil enough conversation / argument. And you know, the fact that he wants her to continue on the house, like he doesn't want to get back in there. He doesn't want, you know, to be pardoned or anything. He just wants to look after his family. I thought it was really sweet, and I'm really glad we got that. And the little interaction with Sam then with the sword. I just thought it was really nice to kind of give him some redemption, because he did start out as kind of a bad guy, but like really redeemed himself all the way through. So it's nice that he's getting that recognition again from his family.
They made the time as well to get it in, even with these last few episodes, and they did it. They ticked all those boxes in such a short, kind of succinct scene. Yeah, I totally get that. Corporate Keen, what were some of the things you liked about this episode?
Yeah, I did like. I liked when Pac and Jon Snow and Sam were like reunited and they were chatting, and a dog in the background. I was like, that's actually really cool.
By Pac, you mean Dolores head? Pac, yeah, all right, we'll go with Pac.
Yeah, the leader of the Night's Watch. Anyway, yeah, that man. And yeah, no, I think, but then I got really sad because I'm like, one of them said, I think it might have been Pac himself that said, you know, the last person alive has to like burn the other two. Yeah. And I feel like that's foreshadowing, and I'm like, because I actually like all those lads, and I'm kind of like, I don't really, there's none of those where I'm like, I hope they die, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I want them all to be happy. I don't know if that's going to happen.
I really don't think that, in terms of like people dying, I think, no, it's a lot of people are going to die.
No, I think they'll all be safe, actually. I changed my mind. All three of them are going to be safe, to be fine.
What do we think of the big news from the episode, of course, the big scene, and for me, an all-timer in Game of Thrones, Jaime knighting Brienne. Arise, Sir Brienne, a knight of the Seven Kingdoms. It was absolutely, I loved how they handled that. Like, I loved, and if that's the end, because this episode, the thing with this episode is it felt like we're saying goodbye to a lot of people, but we don't know who we're saying goodbye to, so that's what made it interesting. So if this is the end for Jaime and Brienne, and we don't get like kind of the Arya scene where Brienne's stripping all of a sudden and we're like, okay, it's still going, she's getting more naked. If we don't get that kind of scene, I'm fine with it, because it's like that was almost more meaningful than anything else they could have done with them, and but it also it rounded off Brienne's character, gave her that arc, that acknowledgement she's always wanted. What were your thoughts on Jaime Brienne? Did you cry?
Look, when giant Tilda Swinton got knighted, I was about as close. I was about as close as it gets. Yeah. She played the hell out of that scene. Oh my God, she was incredible. I hope she doesn't die. She's like, there's a couple of them that I think are just across the board objectively good, and there's not that many. Yeah. She might be the only one who's like beginning to end positive who's made it. Yeah. But again, building up to bring me crashing back down. I only hope, because actually, my actual favorite scene, and we'll get to it, was Tormund in that fire. So
well, let's talk about it. Yeah.
Tormund needs to write a book on slaying. Slaying White Walkers and slaying them women. Holy shit, he was smooth. He sailed right in there with a horn, and the metaphor very strong with his horn full of wine.
Yeah.
And it was just everything I wanted it to be and more. It was tragic and hilarious and so endearing, and it spurred on my second hot take.
Yeah! We need to have a sound effect in there.
Oh yeah, if there's some sort of
a dragon.
Yeah, fire breathing. Yeah. Funny you mentioned dragons. Okay, here is how I think they will resolve the Brienne and Tormund arc.
Yes. Okay, I'm all in.
And keep every fan in the world incredibly happy. Okay, I think next episode a lot of fighting is going to go down.
Yeah.
Right. I think Tormund is going to be out there killing it. He is going to be impressing everybody left, right, and center, fighting so well. Brienne has no choice but to fall madly in love with him, as he has her. Meanwhile, the Ice Dragon has shown up and is just steady wrecking shit. Everything is falling down around them. It's a big problem, and it needs to be solved. Now, if we learned one thing about dragons, it's that they always look at people shagging. 100% of the available evidence about dragons and sex, dragons cannot help but stare at it. So
they're cooks.
They're cooks, dragon cooks. And in the heat of battle, Brienne and Tormund will have no choice but to lay their bodies on the line and distract the ice dragon while perhaps several other dragons or John or someone else, perhaps Tormund himself, will get the dragon close enough, and the two of them will do some sort of like weird double stab finisher, and that's how the ice dragon will fall, and that's how they'll expose the Night King.
Amazing, like
lovely,
amazing, like
that's booking right there.
That's fantastic. That's amazing. I'd book that. Like that's fair enough. But then again, maybe you don't want that. What do you think about the whole Jaime, Brienne, Tormund love triangle, Katie?
It's killing me because, like, I really want her to be with Jaime, but I appreciate how hard Tormund is trying.
He's great.
Like, his first line, like, is the big woman still here? Like, I appreciate that kind of focus. Like, it did, like fucking, he's seen shit in the last few days, and that's all he cares about is if she's still there. I just love her bewilderment by it all. I don't know if she's responding to him. I don't know if she's disgusted. I
don't think she knows. I don't think she's ever been in this situation where she's been coveted by a guy, so I don't think she knows what to do or trusts his intentions either. Like, so I think that's where she's at.
That's true.
I saw a meme online. No, I got sent this straight after the show. Actually, it was hilarious. And it's like leaving coppers at 2 a.m. like, and then it's Tormund, and it's like, is the big woman still here? We've all been there. We've all been Tormund at some stage. Like, it happens. What did you make of his game? Like, I really enjoyed that, where like Tormund and Jaime kind of competing for each other, where like Tormund is every guy chatting up a girl at some stage, where it's like, what is the thing you like? And then she's like, oh, I've always wanted to be a knight. And he's like, I would knight you 10 times over. And then Jaime coming in, like, taking that, and he's like, I actually can do the thing. Doesn't matter if you want it, I can do it. It's like, it was fantastic to watch.
Yeah, but like, I think I'm still rooting for her and Jaime, because like, Jaime's never loved anyone but Cersei, but now his head is getting turned, and I think it's really sweet that he's kind of seeing like, oh, you know what, like, she kind of deserves my love. She's a good person. Like, she makes me a better person. And I just love that, and I think they're so good for each other, and I really want it to be Jaime and Brienne.
I think Brienne deserves better.
Oh, controversial.
Look, Jaime, he's come a long way, but you can't shake off some of that.
Yeah.
At no point will he not be the guy who was shagging his sister for 7 seasons. You can't
baggage.
forget that.
It's baggage.
It's baggage.
Yeah.
You know, look, we all have it. Some have more than others. He has shagging his sister for decades. He has decades of it. And to be honest, the only reason he stopped is because she lied to someone, as she always does. I think she deserves the love of someone like Tormund, who, and I can't believe that the feminist icon doesn't want her to be with a man who literally has no idea what patriarchy is. He has no idea. He's like fuck tradition. Make her a knight. Why not do it? If he hadn't said that, would Jaime have knighted her?
I think he might have. I think that was his trump card. I think that was like his ace in the hole to knight her. But like, another is a real throwaway line, I think, in the episode that I loved when Tyrion and Jaime were talking about Jaime and Cersei being together, and Tyrion just said something like, "Oh, you always knew what she was. You just chose to love her anyway." He said something like that, but now like he doesn't. He's walked away from her, and like he is a better person. And I'm a sucker for redemption. I'm a sucker for like bad guy turned good, and she just brings out the best in him.
Oh yeah, I'm big on Jaime and Brienne. Like there was a lot of debate about this on the night when we went down. We were watching in the back page, and it's like this is the story. Like Tormund is the comic relief. Jaime and Brienne is the story they've been building up to since season 3. Like at this
and look,
stage.
Bran doesn't seem to mind he got pushed out a window. So.
He's not even Bran anymore.
Yeah.
And it led him to where he is, and he seemed pretty happy.
Would he be the three-eyed raven if Jaime didn't do that?
Yeah, he's the memory for all of mankind, so he did all right, like, you know what I mean? As John Promotions got, where are you kind of leaning on this?
Tormund, obviously.
Oh,
what the fuck,
Is that because he's literally Eric Rowan?
It's because, you know, you're talking about Jaime and his redemption. He will redeem himself as he's getting massacred next week. Oh man, he's gonna die. It's not even like if, but, or maybe. He's gone. He's done. You think Tormund's gonna get killed? No, he's a tank. And Brienne's a tank. And they're both gonna be tanks and have tank babies. And they're gonna survive this. Jaime's not. So.
Here's the thing. Open relationship. That's surely fine in Game of Thrones, right?
It'd be the least weird relationship they've had on the show.
I mean,
the
like,
most healthy thing anyone's done.
Jaime's obviously real open sexually, so why not have an open
Devil
relationship?
Three-way?
Yeah.
Are we talking? All right, fair enough.
Tormund probably doesn't even know what monogamy is, to be fair. He probably just, will go with the flow either way, and... Yeah.
Tormund is used to like creeping into women's tents and taking them. He literally just said this. He described to John, "This is how you get a girl." When he was in the wildlings, like so.
Italian Tormund rears his head
It's
again.
a me, Tormund. All right, I'm trying here. So yeah, look, who knows? Maybe that's the way it all plays out. Like Jaime gets her Thursday through Sunday, and Tormund gets her Monday through Wednesday. You know what I mean? Who knows? Jaime like takes her out on dates, and Tormund's her Netflix and chill guy. You know, this is they can figure something out between them. I don't know, shared custody.
Yeah, she is Eric Rowan. That's mad. That's blown my mind. I fucking love him now. I hope he takes the throne. Actually, he's my new pick. Take the throne. That's mad.
I feel like you don't understand how the throne works. Maybe that can be next week on Keane's questions, but we will be busy because it's going to be a busy week. Let's talk about Dany trying to ingratiate herself into the Stark family. Of course, she had that, for me, brilliant scene with Sansa. I loved it. I again, like, you have gone on the record, Katie Harvey, and said that like you're very anti-Dany at this time. I think she did quite well. Last week wasn't the best meeting the family. I'll give you that. But I think this week she was charming. She was nice. You know, they have their line, like when she's coming in, she's cracking the jokes. Sansa's challenging her straight away, and she's like, she's trying to be self-effacing, and she's like, "Oh, well, look, I wish I had the trust in my advisors that you have in yours. Ha, 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 ha. Oh, lol, me." And then Sansa's like, "Yeah, well, you shouldn't have trusted her." She just ate it. She ate the criticism, and she's just like, "Right, I'm going to work towards a bigger picture," having the jokes, and she's like, John's only the second man I've loved and trusted. Who's the other guy? Oh, someone taller. Ha, ha. Doing that whole thing. That's a great move, by the way, for meeting the parents. Slag the person, the mutual friend. It's a very Irish thing as well, where it's like, we both know this person, let's slag them to bond. That's like, and she's getting over. But then, of course, they had their disagreements. So, what did you think of Dany ingratiating herself into the Starks and trying to like build herself back up?
Awful. She's 100% turned into a villain.
Okay.
This episode just confirmed even more that she doesn't care about putting her family back on the throne. She doesn't care about the lineage. She cares about the power for herself.
Right.
As soon as Sansa pulled her up on what happens to the North after all this, and she took the hand away and her face changed. Same thing when Jon told her his parentage. Like, the only thing she cared about was that he had a stronger claim to the throne. You could see it. Like, also terrible timing by Jon Snow. Like avoids her all episode, and then like as the fucking White Walkers are descending. Oh yeah, by the way, like fucking hell, Jon. But yeah, like it's just becoming more and more obvious that she doesn't give a shit about anything except the power. She's so set on this idea that she has a right to the Iron Throne, which she doesn't even really. So much has happened since her family was on the throne.
Is she a villain, though? I do see it. Like, look, we can see the seeds are being planted for a heel turn here, but is she actually a villain? Or did they, like, you hear Tyrion and Jorah talking about curbing Dany's worst impulses. She's always had, like, these bad impulses. Like, they say she's inbred. You know, she comes from an inbred line of Targaryens. Like, her parents were related somewhat. I don't know the exact details, but she is inbred. And the quote they use in the show is, with inbred people, the gods flip a coin. And they either turn out crazy like Joffrey, or they turn out like, you know, normal as well. And Dany kind of does seem to have, like, we've seen some of the Mad Queen in her throughout the entire series, but at the same time, on balance, then she tends to do the right thing, like freeing the slaves, not leaving. Like Marine is a great example of the positive side of Dany's character, where she's like, I could leave right now on my dragons and go take the Red Keep and not give a fuck about these people, but then slavery would come back within the next day. So I'm going to stay and rule to her own detriment. So is it a case of Dany's just working through some stuff rather than being outright evil?
I think she only stayed in Slaver's Bay for as long as she did for her own ego. I don't think she did it to actually help anyone.
Right.
Because she wanted it done on her terms, her way, and she just barged straight in. She didn't look at the lay of the land. She didn't look at, you know, what the people were like. She didn't look at their culture. She didn't look at their history. She just came in and said, you know what, I don't think this is right. We're going to change it my way, and fuck the consequences. And as a consequence, she'd people coming to her being like, well, I actually like slavery because I have a roof over my head and I have food in my belly. You know, she didn't look at how to implement it. She just snapped her fingers and was like, I want it done my way now.
Okay, look, very strong point. I can't disagree. Jay,
yeah, strong point indeed. Katey Harvey, pro-slavery. A lot of questionable views out of that side of the table. Thanos did nothing wrong. It's all coming out. The Sansa and Dany scene, I think it really clarified for me who these two people were.
Right.
So Daenerys is like the new girlfriend at a party with your old friends. Right. She's trying to be real nice to everybody, but then she asks you to turn the music down. And you're like, but why? It's not that loud. And then she does the face drop. That face drop from that scene, and she's like, she was smiling too much, and then she had her "Can I speak to the manager" face on. and I didn't like it.
Yeah.
I felt insincere.
Yeah.
But it was nothing compared to what was on the other side of the table. And Katey Harvey, this is where we throw down.
All right, let's go.
Hot take number
Sansa.
3.
Yeah,
hot take. My final hot take. Sansa is the Roman Reigns of Game of Thrones.
Ooh.
It doesn't matter what she goes through. People will not like her. She has been through the equivalent leukemia of Game of Thrones. Jesus. I think Ramsay Bolton is to Game of Thrones what leukemia is to real life. And even having been through that,
really go with that leukemia metaphor.
I was recently at a large wrestling event in New York City.
Yes, congratulations.
Thank you. I haven't mentioned it. And at the Monday Night Raw after Mania, at the commercials they were cutting to signs, and they very briefly, before the audience erupted in laughter, cut to a sign that says, "Is it too soon to boo Roman?"
Oh.
And I feel that's the exact way a lot of people feel about Sansa.
Right.
She's in spite of having so many opportunities to be good, she's whiny and entitled and doesn't really contribute much.
Yeah, man.
And I'm curious why you like her so much.
Let's go.
I think she's been through a lot of stuff, and I think she's handled it with dignity. And I think, more importantly, I think she's learned from every bad experience she's come across to make her a stronger and better person. And I think she wants to rule Winterfell to do her family proud, and I think she wants to be a good leader for her people. For example, when Dany's army comes and the dragons, she was just concerned about how she was going to feed everyone. Like, that's a good leader, you know? She's thinking about the practicalities that Dany doesn't think of, for example, when she has Slaver's Bay under her control.
Okay, sure. She considered grain at some point.
I'm just going to sit back and watch. You got popcorn green.
But, okay, she went through all of that stuff, but she never actually got out of it herself. All she did was not die. And then at some point,
but that's how you win the Game of Thrones.
You're winning.
You might be right. You might be completely correct. I'm not even saying that she's not going to be on the throne. I'm just saying that would make a sad J. It'd be a sad J if Sansa sits on the throne. She did nothing. She just continued to not die until other people solved her problems for her. And then found herself, because she continues to find herself in terrible situations, falling completely helpless into yet more terrible situations.
No, I don't think she keeps finding herself. Like, she's responsible for a lot of the good that's going on in this now. Like, she's responsible for, like, the Knights of the Vale coming to bail Jon out of Battle of the Bastards. They would have lost if it hadn't been for that connection. And
no, she just found herself in a dodgy situation with Littlefinger, and Littlefinger was like,
and she makes the best
want.
of dodgy situations. Like, she learned from Littlefinger. She learned to spin lies for the benefit of everyone else. She's a good leader.
Like, we've seen this. I team Sansa for the record, but like, we've seen this. She is a good leader. Like, she is winning over the without even trying the Lords of the North by just being there, being present, and being a good leader, and by thinking of things. Again, you compare it to Jon as King of the North, and Jon's like, I'm going to go off on an adventure and fight the zombies, and Sansa's like, someone needs to think of the food. And is it just that
they'll have full bellies when the Night King's rocking in and be like, wow, there's all 8 of us who are here are well fed to fight off this army. I think she has a perspective issue.
But no, someone does have to do that. Like, they still have to feed people over winter. Someone does need to think about, even in terms of like the armor, she was like, do we not need to put leather on that so they're going to be warm when they're out there and they don't freeze?
Cheap. I liked it, but it was just like,
she kept the gates open as long as possible in Winterfell, so as many people from the countryside could come in and like get into the crypts for safety.
And who's the one person last week when Tyrion's like, the Lannister army are riding north, that was like, no, they're not. Sansa has this instinct that everyone else doesn't have, because she's learned and because she's grown and developed as a person throughout the people she's been with. And she's been with the worst, Cersei, Littlefinger, Ramsay, but she's picked up elements of them. She's even wearing Cersei's like new winter line this week.
Do you know what her new armor is like?
What's
the Blackfish.
Okay, yeah,
it's similar, and she has a coat that's nearly exactly the same as the cloak he wore, because again, she's picking up and learning from everyone around her.
I thought more Cersei, because she wore Cersei's hair last year when she got back to Winterfell, and now she's wearing like even the high neck kind of dress that Cersei wears, the black leather high neck dress. Like, I thought she looked very like Cersei. But these are decent people to learn from. These are people who are good at playing the game, but ultimately, morally, she comes out on the right side. I don't know. I like Sansa, and I don't get where it's coming from. Is it just a rational, like,
you know what?
hatred?
I came into this one really hot. You've convinced me.
Really?
You've convinced me. Yeah, I'm carrying. Turns out I am also carrying baggage. 7 seasons of her being a helpless little whiny girl, and then she just kind of. You're right. I think. I'm gonna. You've convinced me to come back to the fence.
Yeah, like,
where if it turns out that her priorities are in the right place and she's not just like willfully ignoring the bigger problem to try and protect the North. I think Jon is the smarter one there. You fight the big fight, not the fight that keeps you popular among your old friends.
Okay, that's fair.
If it turns out that she's on a good streak, and the next couple episodes go well for her, I will take it all back.
Okay,
and that all of these learning experiences were in fact necessary.
All right.
To saving the world.
We shall see. We'll check.
However, if not, I will be coming back exclusively to take the mic out of Katie Harvey's hand, drop it. A literal just a mic drop, no words. I'm not cutting a promo on you, and then just leave it.
Just inconvenience her because her arms are in it and she can't pick it up.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll kick it under a table so you have to reach ever so slightly.
Cian, you're very anti-Sansa. We established this last week.
I hope she dies.
You're hearing all this. Where do you hope she dies?
Yeah.
Why? Where is this coming from?
You're clear on which one is Sansa, right?
Yeah. I figured that out during the conversation. I don't like her, man. She's just such a moany little fuck. I don't like her. Just what I get.
Is it just because she's like a posh rich girl?
Well, no.
She does it that like, oh, hottie hot. She does it that
but
kind
they
of
all
accent.
sound like that.
But
It's Game of Thrones.
yeah, fair.
So that's nothing to do with it. She's just not likable, not entertaining.
Okay.
Not someone I want to see on my screen. I hope she dies.
All right, interesting. Last note that I have here for in terms of things I liked again the bits of levity in this are what make Game of Thrones, where it's not taking itself too seriously. Like the Hounds, they may talk. Obviously, Tormund, we spoke about telling his epic story, origin story. The best part about that is we've no idea if that's even true or if he's just talking absolute bollocks.
Do you think that's bollocks? I think that's 100% true. I think it's fact 100%.
The giant's wife that he murdered took him into her arms and made him suckle on her teeth for 3 months like a baby, and that's how he got strong.
Yeah.
I was just, is there female giants? We never seen any. I was so curious. Did they have sex with regular-sized women, or was there female giants?
Do you ever see those couples where the guy is really, really tall and the girl is really, really small? That's like all of giants with humans.
Maybe they've got like a dwarves from Lord of the Rings problem where there are female dwarves, they just kind of look the same.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah, how would you tell like with giants? You know what I mean? The giants.
I do imagine
giant willies.
That's the exact same way. You do. I feel like we're just explaining
we haven't seen naked giants, though, have we?
Like, I'd say their anatomies are fairly similar, but bigger. I think that's the idea. Like,
it'd be tragic if they're smaller.
It's just average size, but perspective does not do them any favors. Actually, they have answered. They've answered about dwarves, like with Tyrion. Tyrion is apparently hung like a horse, so like they have actually got into this kind of stuff in the show before. Maybe we'll find out in the last 4 episodes. They might get around to it. The Hound as well, I really enjoyed in this episode. Just a few seconds where it's like talking to Beric, and Beric starts going, "This is the Lord of Light's time. This is here." And then the Hound's just like, how would your fucking Lord of Light feel? He brought you back 19 times only for me to fuck you over this wall. I love that as well. And just a little nice moment. Like, what I liked about this was the reunions weren't tacked on. Like, they weren't just like Lyanna and Jorah. They got around to it. They acknowledged. They answered people's questions, but not in it. They didn't make a whole scene of it. It's just like a 30-second conversation. Arya and the Hound got a similar kind of reunion where Arya's like, "You just fought for yourself," and he's like, "I fought for you, didn't I?" And then Arya's just silence where it's like, "Oh yeah, you did. Yeah, fair enough." And it's just like, I like where they've left it. I'm happy where they've left it. If that's the closure we get on that relationship, I don't think it will be, but if it is, then I'm happy. In terms of things we didn't like from the episode, though, was there anything that grinded your gears, Jay Money?
No, this episode was there was nothing to dislike. There was a couple of bits which were stupid, but they're not going to. Okay, can we talk about this? Goddamn, the biggest party in town.
Right.
You need a wristband to get in, and you can hope your name is on the list because this crypt is going to be popping.
They're safe, though. They're so safe.
They're so safe. They're going to be totally safe in the place where they keep the dead, and the 3 people down there are going to be Big Sam, Tyrion, and that little girl who wanted to get in on the action. A little girl, also a boss.
Yeah.
I think that it's going to fall to those 3 people to save the women and children of humanity, and they're going to pull it off.
Is Sam staying in the crypt, is he?
No, I don't think so, actually, no, because he had that argument.
He was like, "Yeah, I've killed White Walkers before. That's fair." Yeah. So wait, okay, sorry. So it's just Tyrion and that little girl standing at a combined 5 feet of fury.
but so were we like, is it meant to be obvious, or is it meant to be like a swerve? Is it like, what if they are safe? That'd be mad, wouldn't it? Like, this whole time, actually, we're fine.
They just come up after the battle, they're like, those crypts were so safe. It's just like false foreshadowing. Like, it'd be really disappointing.
I think it is false foreshadowing, because I was reading a theory that once Bran doesn't go into the crypts, they are safe. Right. That the crypts are a magical place, and they can actually keep the Night King out, and that's why Bran has opted to stay out of the crypts as well, because if he goes there, he breaks the shield.
Okay.
You mean like magic, like that magic tree magic?
The article just said magic.
Like the wall. The wall was similar. They had enchantment set up there.
That would actually be such a great distraction, because I feel like they do so much foreshadowing, and they kind of deliver on all of it.
Yeah.
And then you're like, damn, there's some wild shit said in season 1, and it's probably going to happen in the next couple of episodes. I would love if the crypt was just everyone had a great time and they come up at the end.
I don't know, man. I really want to see like that scene where everyone shits themselves, where like Ned's fucking tomb just opens and it's like, oh motherfucker!
The running joke that we have had for several years now is we're like, you caught up on Game of Thrones? No. All right, no spoilers, but you're gonna love how Ned comes back. I would kill to see Ned come back, either as a zombie or as a face on Arya for some sort of crazy. I can't imagine a possible
I don't
reason
think it
why
would,
that would
but
happen.
it'd
I
be
just think
nice.
that would for me personally, on so many bullshit levels, just cash in on such a rich history of comedy.
I was going to say, are we going to be seeing like dead characters come back and all now?
We could.
Oh,
We
man,
could
imagine,
easily.
like Joffrey and Ramsay and all come back.
Well, like, again, you have to consider who's going to be there, right? So people who died in Winterfell, Roose Bolton probably wasn't burned.
He was a bitch, man. I hate
Joffrey
him.
died, or Ramsay did die in Winterfell, so it's not beyond the realms of possibility. We
He was
could get
eaten by
zombie.
dogs, though.
Yeah, like, he's not going to look the same. But, yeah, like, you could get Littlefinger, but they probably knew to burn him, so, I don't know, like, but we're going to, it's a zombie show.
The lad that Theon decapitated. Who's that?
Sir Roderick.
Yeah, him.
He could come back, yeah.
Oh my god, imagine if those two little boys Theon burned came back and just chased Theon. Just that's what he did for an hour.
Wait.
Were
they really burnt?
Yeah, they were farm boys.
Oh, I thought that was just like he was just pretending that. Like, I didn't know they were actually dead
Is that a
bodies.
Sabrina quote?
What?
Is that a quote from Sabrina, Farm Boy? Is that not what, like, Harvey gets called by someone?
Really?
Farm Boy just rings a bell for some reason. Guys, tweet us in. What am I remembering that from?
Yeah, no, well, it's just like I didn't know they were actually dead. I thought they were just like it was like a prop. He was pretending he killed like people, but he didn't.
No, he was pretending they were Bran and Rickon.
Yeah.
Oh, but he actually did kill two
He
kids.
burned them.
Yeah.
Well, he did burn them, so I don't know, actually.
Did Catelyn Stark's body make it back to Winterfell? Or she was thrown in a river, was she?
Ooh.
In the book, she was thrown in a river, and that's how Lady Stoneheart becomes a thing in the books, where she does actually come back to life. They could do that as kind of a throwback, like as a payoff to the Lady Stoneheart storyline. Technically, she's a kind of zombie in the books, so that could happen. It's not beyond the realms of possibility. If they need it to happen, it can. They're in charge, so like they could easily write it in. It's an interesting one. I don't know if she's buried in the crypts, though, because that tends to be Starks only.
Yeah, I think she was thrown in a river. I think that was a throwaway line
Yeah.
that they threw in a river.
Yeah, it could be. As well, I don't like the plan in general. I don't like the battle plan. Now, we haven't seen a lot of it, like, but as well, just little things like, why is Jaime, who has a Valyrian steel sword, and they know a lot of these things. For example, with the crypt, Jon specifically saw the Night King raise the dead. He knows that the Night King just needs to lift his arms and all the dead in the vicinity come to life.
I would say plot mostly. That's why they've
Yeah,
forgotten
this is
that,
it. Yeah, this is it. But like Game of Thrones tends to be good for those kind of things, like you say with the foreshadowing in season 1 and whatnot. But Valyrian steel as well. Jaime is just able to select his like, can I ride in your flank? And it's like, well, no, you have a Valyrian steel sword, so you're going to be fighting the White Walkers because Jon's established that Valyrian steel can kill White Walkers. So why are they not at any stage just going, who's Valyrian steel sword? Right, Arya, you've a dagger, Jorah, Jon, and they're putting them at the front. You're on White Walker duty, everyone else, you're fighting the Whites. You know what I mean? Because it's established that they can kill Whites. It's just, I don't know, maybe that sleight of hand and they didn't show us it to keep it interesting for next week. But when they were talking about their plan, as well, just like keeping Bran out in the open. Like,
Bran out in the open, okay, that's fine. If you want that to be your distraction plan, grand. The fact that everyone was like, well, we need someone to stay with him, and the first person to put their hand up was Theon, and everyone was like, cool.
yeah.
This requires no more thought.
Yeah, I'll do it because I turned on you. Actually, that's why you probably shouldn't do it, Theon.
No, you in front, Theon. You're in the front, and you don't have a sword.
Hang on. Did you say that there's dead that can be killed without Valyrian steel?
The White Walkers get killed with Valyrian steel.
And then who are the ones that...
Okay, so the White Walkers are the guys with the long hair on the horses.
Yeah.
They're the real badasses. And then the Whites are just the zombies. They're just the dead, reanimated corpses.
I thought they were all White Walkers. That's mad.
I'm with Cian on this one.
Yeah, the White Walkers are they're
They
different.
like cut people's heads off and like they cut him in half, and he's still just scuttling around on the floor.
That's a White.
That's a White.
Yeah, whereas the White Walker is like, it's indestructible unless you're fighting Valyrian
Right,
steel.
yeah.
Do you remember we saw Jon fight him in Hard Home when
His sword
just
breaks
ripped him apart? Yeah, and we've seen it as well. Like we saw it in the battle last year where they went to capture the zombie. They went on that little escapade. Jon was able to kill him with Valyrian steel again. So they know this, and they aren't just, I don't know, am I missing something? Do people like the plan? Does it set up an intriguing kind of finale? Like, is anyone a fan of this? Anyone disagree?
Like, it made sense when they were talking about all the military men they had, like how they would separate them out to lead the different parts of the army. So, like, that makes sense from a strategy point of view, the way, like, the Mormonts are guarding the actual castle because they've got the smallest amount of people, and then I think the Unsullied and stuff are in the front. So it does make sense, but it also doesn't. Like, you think with that many military minds, they would have a better plan. Like,
you've got
something
Jamie
stronger.
in there, like Jamie, Jorah, like people who've led battles.
Yeah,
like,
like John's led battles. Even Lyanna Mormont has led, hasn't she? Like, so, yeah.
I don't know. And maybe this will be the point. Maybe they're jobbing out next week.
Yeah.
Maybe they're going to get their asses kicked. So
Also, should Arya not be telling people she can switch faces and shit like that? Like, what if she just takes on a White Walker face? Can she do that?
I don't know if that'd be enough. I'd say the White Walkers would be fairly wide.
She could probably ride right up to the Night King, though.
And he was like,
with a White Walker
"Hey
face.
man, I'm just a normal White Walker. How you doing there? Do they speak? I don't know."
He's being like, "Hello, fellow kids."
Hello, fellow White Walkers.
There's like 4 White Walkers, and they're like, "Is that guy new?"
Hi there, gents. My name's Derek. Pleased to be among you for eternity. That'd be hilarious.
I'm just super pumped we get another Helm's Deep. Like, I don't care how it's set up. I think, like, the Battle of the Bastards was really cool. I think Hardhome was really cool. But a nice, like, castle fight on that scale, that you just don't get that often. And when it comes to something that you actually care about, that actually has a budget through the roof and knows how to do a fight, ooh!
And they've been
I would say
saving this.
not since Helm's Deep have we seen something like this.
They're saving some of the budget. Like, we got Ghosts for a few seconds this week, but we didn't get Dragons. We got Dragons last week, so it's like they're just like the budget is just like low, high for this episode. Like, it's going to be unbelievable. We will get to that. We'll get to our predictions on who lives and who dies. And you didn't like any episode ending that kind of got to you, Corporate King?
No, it's pretty good.
You're a fan.
Actually, all right, this isn't really related to the show, right? I was meant to mention this earlier. It's the book, right?
Right.
Because I found out something about the book. About, you know the way, like, people talk about, like, Arya having sex and all, how she's 18, so, like, there's nothing wrong with it, yeah? In the book, they're all, like, kids and all having sex. George R. Martin's a weirdo, man. I don't care what anyone says. There's something's up with him, in my opinion.
And, like, he is conditioning the world that incest is actually okay. I'm waiting for him to be like, so, this is my wife/cousin.
His deathbed is going to be the most watched television event in history.
People, like, putting a pen in his hand going, "Write quicker. Write the last books, you fucking asshole."
I will say one final thought on the, like, battle prep. Did anyone else catch a real strong Home Alone vibe off the whole thing? Like, there's no parents. And they're setting a load of traps for some wet bandits to show up. I can't wait. And the thing is, we haven't even seen all the traps. It's very Home Alone. We haven't even seen all the traps.
Yeah.
I'm betting there's like a big wall of fire they're going to light up to burn like an entire, put a big wall in front of the White Walkers and the Whites. I bet there's going to be all kinds of fun. Like, Tyrion's going to run down a staircase at some point and pull a lever and some crazy shit's going to happen. There's going to be a Michael Jordan cutout on a train. It's going to be wild. I don't even know what to expect. Macaulay Culkin will be there, confirmed.
Well, look, we had Mark from It's Always Sunny in it last week, so Macaulay Culkin is up there.
He's done weirder shit.
They could, yeah. So, Katie, what about you? Anything you didn't particularly like in the episode?
All my notes are just about how I don't like Daenerys, and I've been over that. And Jon's terrible timing. A lot of people giving out about Tyrion and Sansa. I really, Theon and Sansa. I love it. Like, again, sucker for a redemption. I kind of wish they didn't hug when she first seen him, because I just thought that was a bit of, like, too forgiving too quickly.
Yeah.
And that look that they might be in love. I don't want them to be in love.
No.
I want him to still be like her brother, you know? Like, she's just welcoming him back to the family, because Jon said, like, you're Stark, but you're a Greyjoy. So that's fine.
Yeah.
One thing I didn't like about the episode is we didn't really get an update on King's Landing at all.
Yeah, and we probably won't next week with the Battle of Winterfell.
Like, where's Bronn? Is he just up the King's Road? Is he just going to walk into the middle of this battle with a crossbow?
We know because of in the first episodes, Robert explained to Ned that it takes a month to get from King's Landing to Winterfell. So we've some kind of timeline on that. Now in Game of Thrones, when they need someone to be somewhere, they just forget about all that. And they're like, oh, he's here now. So, yeah, maybe that was misdirection. It's just like, don't think about Bran, and then he's just going to appear out of nowhere and be like, oh, shit, as a dramatic twist. I don't know. I am seeing a lot of theories around that Bran is going to kill Brienne by accident. And that's going to lead Jaime to, yeah. I am seeing theories out there.
Stop talking.
It'd be so heartbreaking. It'd be so heartbreaking. Keith's heart is breaking over there, but I don't know. That's just idle speculation. Another thing I would have liked to see is more of that Tyrion and Bran conversation. It's not even a criticism of the episode. It's just when Tyrion sat down beside Bran and was like, and Bran's like, it's a long story. And Tyrion's like, oh, well, if only we're stuck in a castle in the middle of winter with nothing else to do. I was like, I am here for this conversation. And then it just cut. I really hope we get some resolution on what those two talked about. Cause
Bran is such a creep. Who cares? All he does is, he's like, well, good thing I'm here in this courtyard. It's where I do my staring. I do like to stare. And he's just being an asshole at this point. I know everything. Oh, could you tell us some of it? Why? Just roll my paralyzed arse out into the courtyard and I'll do more staring. It runs in the Starks as well. Like Jon loves a good stare at some statues. Fucking Bran sitting out there staring at the courtyard, just waiting for plot to come to him.
I had to laugh though as well. I had to feel for him at one stage because we did wonder last week if he was just getting left in the courtyard because he's freaking everyone out and no one's wheeling him around. And we got an answer to that this week as the Tyrion Bran conversation started with everyone just leaving the room and Bran being stuck in the corner and Tyrion's like, do you need help? Everyone just walks off on Bran. He's in a wheelchair, lads, and it's not like it's medieval times. It's not electric. You can't just push a button and move forward. You need to wheel him.
How much easier would Hodor's life have been with that damn chair?
I know.
Pity.
But he wouldn't be called Hodor then.
That's true.
He'd be called
Push Door.
Push Door.
I hoped at the end of the first episode when him and Jaime lock eyes after he's done his latest session of staring in the courtyard, it was like Jaime just turns and walks away to try and find someone and everyone rushes inside for this big momentous trial and Bran's just literally left out in the courtyard.
This is I'm related to this, guys. I'm actually a big part of this. If you could just fucking come on.
Oh, that was actually the one thing I hated about the episode.
Right.
Jaime on trial.
Right, okay.
They've all fucking done mad shit.
Yeah.
The Night King is on the way. We don't have time for this shit. Bran said it, we don't have time for this mess. And I like Brienne vouched for him and stuff like that, but I was looking around seriously, who are any of you to judge Jaime right now? You've all done some bad shit.
And fucked her sister though. That's really weird.
Well, one of them fucked his auntie.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, literally two of the people judging are related and fucking. Game of Thrones, everybody. I do agree with that. And again, they had asked for this. They had gone to King's Landing specifically to say, come down, all is forgiven, we fight for the living, blah, blah. And he's like, I did what you asked, and now you're putting me on trial? Come on, guys. It was a bit ridiculous. In terms of extras from the episode, Easter eggs, or dragon eggs as we'll call them here on Game of Low Blows. Any Easter eggs you picked up on, any kind of nice little notes that you were like, oh, right, this is...
I'm the kind of fan who hates Easter eggs and theories. I am so along for the ride. I'm just throw it at me and see what happens.
Okay, interesting.
I caught nothing.
We did find out that Bran is probably not the Night King. That theory took a major hit because obviously he explained what the Night King was, talking about how he's the Night King is looking for him. It was done, but it's done in Bran's typical kind of slow drawl that it kind of went over everyone's head, where it's this is actually really important, but Bran, you're so boring. You're further stoning this revelation here.
Mixed in with a healthy dose of staring, just makes it really difficult to care about your opinion.
It was interesting that Sam piped up. I like this part. Because a lot of people, myself included, think that the show's going to end with Sam writing a song of Ice and Fire. Like, they've foreshadowed that as well. But Sam kind of set that up when he's like, oh yeah, what are we if not our stories? Look to the camera, wink, nod, this is happening. I did like that. Also as well, Arya and Gendry. When they had their first scene, it started with Gendry watching Arya shooting arrows. The first time we ever see Arya in the show, again, we had all these callbacks last week to episode 1. The first time we ever met Arya, she was shooting arrows and Ned was watching her. The next scene, the Stark boys stumble across a stag and a direwolf who've killed each other.
You think about this shit too much.
I read that. I can't take credit. I can't take credit for that. I've got one more absolute belter of an Easter egg, but it ties in with our next point of the show because it's time to just everyone chill out. We've had arguments here. We've had debates. We're all a bit worked up here. Let's talk about who was hot and who was not because, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for the latest edition of Harvey's Hotties. Who are you checking out this week, Katie?
Well, I realise I just can't say Jorah every week, so I have chosen another. And I would not be wrong.
You can be right every week.
Yeah. I think we need to give some love to the glow up of Podrick.
Oh.
Because, you know, we first came across him as just like a fat little chubby child squire. And now he has glowed up. Now he can fight. Now his armour looks good. And he can sing. And we know he's really good in bed. So I think he deserves a little round of applause for for how much he's achieved.
Is he Neville Longbottoming?
I have never seen Harry Potter. I don't know what you're referencing.
Neville Longbottom, the actor. I know, it's crazy, isn't it?
What?
Neither of them have.
I've also never seen Lord of the Rings. I only watched Game of Thrones because I broke both my arms.
Who are you, me?
I will break your legs. Oh, you thought your career was over? I'm about to end this woman's whole career. So my entire Helm's Deep point just went completely over both of your heads.
I thought it was like the name of a battle and I just had misheard it.
Yeah, I was the same. Yeah, sorry, man.
I thought you said Helmsley. I was like, oh yeah, Triple H is involved. No, I know what you're saying. Well, speaking of Lord of the Rings, here's the Easter egg. Pod going full Pip out of Lord of the Rings. That's Pip is a character. He sings.
Is he Elijah Wood?
No, he's
okay, then
he's his mate. He's his mate. He sang a song called Jenny's Song. It's about to get nerdy, and you can read into this whatever it means. Jenny's Song is a song about a Targaryen who gives up his claim for the woman he loved. All right? Now, the story of the Jenny in question is Duncan Targaryen chose to marry Jenny of Oldstones, who's a commoner, despite being heir to Aegon V's throne, and promised to her Baratheon daughter to keep peace after the Fourth Blackfyre Rebellion. This led to the succession changing, which led to the Mad King falling into line. So this song was directly, the story of this song, the person behind it is directly responsible for the Mad King falling into line, which led to Dany, which led to Jon, which led to everything else. Jenny's friend was a witch. She's actually in the books. Who prophesied the prince that was promised would come from Aerys and Rhaella's side. Aerys, of course, is the Mad King. They gave birth to Rhaegar on the same day Duncan and Jenny died abruptly. Duncan, like Jon, was a rare Targaryen who had dark hair as well. So there's a lot of symbolism in that song that they chose to give away there. You can read as much or as little into it. It could be foreshadowing. It could just be Pod identifies all of this and sees it. And he's like, this would actually be the right song for this time. Like, Pod would make a hell of a DJ on top of everything else. Like, he just knows how to pick the song for the moment. But it also, as well, we talked about the Game of Thrones editing and how one scene leads seamlessly into another. And especially when you watch it back and you know what's going on. Like, the Red Wedding, Season 3 is great for watching the editing because as you build up to the Red Wedding, they're giving you clues, but you don't know they're clues based on the order of the scenes they're in. After he sings this song, that's all about, again, a Targaryen man who gave up his claim to the throne for a woman he loved. Who did they cut to? Jon and Dany in the crypts. So that's where that whole thing came from. Again, we're just like, oh, that's a sweet scene. But then when you actually look into it, It's crazy, chock full of symbolism. So there we go, guys. That is our thoughts on this week's episode. We're going to talk about our theories for next week as well. But first, we're talking about the episode, but we're also saying goodbye to Game of Thrones as a whole. And every week we're going to talk about some of our favourite moments from the show as a whole. This week, with Jaime knighting Brienne, there's only one thing we can really discuss, because that was kind of closure, if it happens that way, on one of our favourite love stories from this. So guys, I want to talk about your favourite love stories from all the Game of Thrones in general. We'll start with you, Jay.
Alright, okay, well this may not surprise you to learn who my favourite character on Game of Thrones is. He loves wine.
Ah, yes.
He's a little undersized.
Yes!
And maybe he's slinging some serious downstairs energy. You're right, it's Podrick. It's Tyrion. And I think Tyrion and Shay was like, that was such a heart-wrenching arc.
Yes.
It's impossible to... I feel like that was one of those moments similar to when they killed Ned that kind of changed the game a little bit. And that's the one that sticks in my head for sure.
That was my answer as well, actually. It's like, I loved that story because it's real. That's how, like, not real in terms of the
dragons and shit. But yeah.
But like, that's how love can go. Two people who wanted to make it work, who truly loved each other, and no matter how much they wanted to, the world just pulled them apart. And then just the way it was acted out as well. Tyrion, when Shay... Like, I think a lot of people who've been through, like, shitty situations like that where a genuine loving relationship just fails for reasons, again, the world just pulled them apart. And then when they saw Tyrion just crumple when Shay walked into the throne room during his trial, to basically give evidence that would have led to him getting executed, where she's like, I'm willing for you to die now because you hurt me. I think a lot of people could relate quite hard when Tyrion's just like...
Yeah, the amount of women I've had testify against me is...
No, not even that. Just the look on his face where he's just beaten and broken and just defeated as a human.
Do you want to talk about some shit?
No, it's just like...
Like, who hurt you?
It's not that. It's not that. It's just like he is... Like, it's just so powerful. And again, just like where... It's like... It really is where, again, like, she's scorned. And, she's angry because he called her a whore. That's the last thing he said. And, like, the closest thing to love sometimes is hate, and it's just like, oh my god, now she wants him dead. Like, this is fucking intense. It was beautiful storytelling, and totally Game of Thrones, where the best love story is, of course, where the two people tried to kill each other in the end. One literally murdered the other. The most Game of Thrones love story, but for me it is the best. It's the most powerful. Katie, your thoughts?
I went back and forth on this so much.
Yeah. Well, you can name multiple if you like, if you got a few.
Like, the first one for me is like Ned and Catelyn, because it's kind of what everything is based on. But I think really my favourite at the heart of it is Sam and Gilly.
Ah, yes.
It's just so sweet. It's just always there. It's so enduring. And again, they bring out the best in each other. Like, I'm a sucker for that. Like, he was sent to the wall because his family thought he was a piece of shit, basically. They thought he wasn't worthy to hold the name. He wasn't worthy to be lord of their house. Like, basically, let's get rid of him on the wall. And, like, realistically, someone like Sam should have died almost instantly on the wall. Like, he should not have survived. Never mind, like, find a woman, start killing White Walkers. You know, he's raising baby Sam.
Yeah.
He's become a maester. He's become, like, the King of the North's closest confidant. Like, he's achieved a lot for someone who was basically kind of thrown out.
Yeah.
And then Gilly as well, it's such a hard start, like, with her weird husband, you know, not known for babies are going to get sacrificed. Like, even the trek back to the wall was really hard. And just, she still learned to take care of the baby, take care of Sam. She learned to read on the way. You know, she's helping him every step of the way. I just think they're so sweet. And
now look at, like, how far she's come. Like, she is, like, she's going around and leading everyone to the crypts, and kind of she's now in a position of leadership in Winterfell. Like, she was awesome in this most recent episode.
She really was. That little moment with the little girl actually was one of my favourites with Davos, because the little girl clearly reminds him both of Shireen, who taught both of them to read, which is really cute.
Yeah, I didn't notice that actually. Gilly as well. Yeah,
so she taught both of them to read, and they just boat wants to look after and want to look after everyone who comes across their path.
Oh, that's a fantastic observation, because I hadn't caught that, because that makes sense, because do you remember Davos was kind of... He was stunned and he just went quiet when she's talking to him, and then Gilly came over with the save and she's like, oh, you can come down the crypt to protect me.
Yeah.
But she knows that Gilly thought she would have got that, or that Shireen. Really good. I like that. Cobra Kid, favourite love story from the show?
Grey Worm and
Oh no!
the other one,
Miss Sandy.
yeah.
Really?
I don't know what else to say. Like, I'm pretty sure every other one's been listed. So, I mean, he's got no dick, but he still gave it his best attempt. And
He's a giver.
yeah, you know, he tries his best. That's all you can really ask for, I suppose. I don't know. I really don't like. I can't think of any other ones off the top of my head. So.
I've never heard you talk. When I did this, I'm like, I've never heard Cian talk about love and romance before.
I don't know what I'm talking about.
I wonder how this is going to go. Like, yeah.
Yeah, what other? Is there any other couples?
There's hundreds.
Like Jamie and Brienne.
But they're not like.
That's a love story.
Oh well, then Tormund and Brienne.
All right, there you go.
Yeah.
Eric Rowan. There you go. The big lady. Right, guys, we'll talk about next week, the Battle of Winterfell. Let's just take a moment to appreciate this week that we're getting to live in, all right? There may never, ever be another week like it. We have the Avengers Endgame coming out this week. We're going to say goodbye to a lot of people there, and then we're going to say goodbye to a lot of other people then on Sunday. But also as well, I was listening to a podcast and made a very good point, where it's like, the way people watch TV is changing with binge watching through Netflix and whatnot. We're not getting it, and the amount of shows, like what other show apart from Game of Thrones does the world watch? Like, what other show could we give up our weekly wrestling podcast to cover and everyone's fine with it because everyone's watching? There is no other show. Now we've got a week of wondering this. And once Sunday hits, no one's ever going to experience that again, because when you watch episode 2 of season 8, you're just going to you're going to have to flick on straight to the Battle of Winterfell, because you're like, I need to know what happens here. We're getting this is an amazing week to be alive. It's going to be a rough week. Like, as a fan, it is. It's an amazing week.
I mean, you're not wrong. It was just a really dramatic way of putting it.
I know, yeah.
I wasn't ready.
You're like, the emotional stakes are getting too high for this.
I like that this is your never forget moment. Like, this is the biggest thing. It's like, wait, Endgame and the 3rd episode of Game of Thrones?
That's amazing.
Oh, shit.
I
He
love
hasn't
that
even
bit.
mentioned Detective Pikachu. Ooh, I'm taking a day off work.
Shame, buddy. I took the week off, actually. I legit am off work for a week. I didn't realise the date, but it worked out well, is all I'm saying. But that's pretty awesome. It's going to be a rough few days, but it's going to be, it's class we're to live through it and to be able to have this week where we're talking about it. So let's have the conversation everyone's talking about. Who lives, who dies, the Battle of Winterfell. I'm going to throw out names. We'll kind of do a round table and see if there's any controversial picks. So, John and Danny, does anyone think that they're dying next week? No, they're alive.
I don't think so.
Any odds?
I hope Danny dies.
Just always, just in general.
I don't think it's happening.
Yeah, Daenerys and Sansa in some sort of double stab incident.
But they really should have been focused on the bigger picture,
Yeah,
but they're
yeah,
just
yeah,
like,
yeah.
let's just be bitchy now.
It's like the scene from Mean Girls. She gets hit by a dragon at the end of the episode.
John or Danny? Either way.
Danny's dying.
This episode, in the Battle of Winterfell.
Yeah.
Danny Dyer's in this episode?
Danny Dyer.
Yeah, and John might die as well. Yeah.
They're both going to die.
Yeah,
They're
definitely
just
Danny though.
not going to deal with the whole you're the heir to the Iron Throne. They're just going to be
Well,
like...
John might survive, but Danny's gone, yeah. I'd say Danny's dying.
Do you genuinely think Danny's dying in this?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, interesting. All right, fair enough. Bran is someone who seems relatively safe as well. He's got a long way to go plot-wise, but Game of Thrones can just fuck with you sometimes. Anyone think Bran's gone?
Yeah.
You think he's gone?
Yeah, I think he's dying.
Is your answer to everyone yes?
No, it's just I don't like Bran, so I'd say he's dying.
I think he mightn't die, but they might like maybe death means something else for him. They might like wrap him up in some weird way, like he becomes part of some tree and just is a tree now, like the last guy. I don't know. I feel like Bran, something has to happen with
Yeah,
Bran.
that's what I was saying, basically.
Yeah, Cian basically said he's going to be a tree. And as a tree, he's just free to sit in that courtyard and do all the staring his heart can possibly Possibly a little want.
Is that his happy ending? Where he's just
gets
a
to
part of the
stare.
tree staring at everyone.
His perfect happy ending is to become some sort of Mount Rushmore type character with eyes permanently fixed open, staring out into a great wide open space.
Katie, do we think you, or even he might warg into a dragon? A lot of people are saying.
Oh, I keep forgetting he can do that. Like.
Yeah.
Bran is a dragon. That's the shittest dragon ever. It's just sitting there.
But what if Bran warged into the dragon?
He did, and that's why the dragon was staring at Jon and Danny Bucket.
She has layers, man.
So the dragons aren't the perverts, Bran is.
Well, we knew that.
The whole thing started with him watching people have sex.
Yeah! Oh my God! Oh shit! We figured out Game of Thrones. Do we think? Okay, let's talk about the Stark sisters. They're so. You'd say it's unlikely, but possible. Arya or Sansa? Do we think either of them could meet? Arya felt like we were saying goodbye to it last week. It could be a good goodbye.
Did anyone watch the trailer for episode 3?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've seen it. Yeah.
Okay. I don't want to ruin it. You. Yeah. No, that's fine.
The original trailer for.
I wish I didn't see it.
Have you seen the original trailer for the season?
No, I'm the kind of person, if I know I'm going to watch something, I will not watch the trailer. Because I feel like it always gives away anything. And if I know I'm into it, like I said, I'm along for the ride. Yeah. I want to experience it how you want me to experience it, not how your marketing department wants me to experience it.
Okay, fair enough, yeah. No, I appreciate that.
I think the trailer was bullshit anyway, so. Okay. It's like the trailer for the entire season where they make a big show of Dany and Jon getting onto the dragons, and you think it's going to be like epic. No, it's just them going for a ride in the first episode.
Yeah.
Like it means nothing in the grand scheme of things.
Very true.
I don't think either of them are dying. Definitely not Arya, because I do think the face swapping thing has to come into play. So I think she's going to be alive longer. I actually have a theory around this about who is going to die.
Okay.
That I stole off Thronecast last night.
Fair enough, go.
Where someone reckons Jaime's going to die, possibly Bronn arriving and killing him. Arya steals Jaime's face, goes to King's Landing. Cersei whips the face off, because I think Cersei's the last one on her list, isn't she?
Cersei and the Mountain.
Is he not off it?
No, he's still on her.
Oh shit, imagine a fucking knife to the back of the head during the battle.
There's a theory where that is out there. That's quite popular. I think they talked about it on Talking Nerdy to me as well, where it's, Arya killed Cersei as Jaime. But also as well, Arya gets an assist and helps the Hound kill the Mountain in Clegane Ball.
I got that mixed up. When we said the I was like, why is the Hound still on our list? That makes sense.
It's an interesting one. I do agree. It'd be weird if they had her go to Faceless Men training and go through all that and establish that, and then it's just like, and then she died at the hands of a White Walker. Oh well. It's just like, you spent a season building that up. Arya or Sansa?
Oh, Sansa's fucked, man. Sansa's gone.
Just, who do you
Rest
like?
in peace. Rest in peace. Gone. Goodbye.
You're just expecting this to be the best episode ever, where they kill off everyone you don't like.
Yeah. Well, it's like, we're making predictions. Might as well predict with your heart. You know what I mean?
All right, fair enough. Tyrion. Also, as well, like, what are the odds of everyone in the crypts dying? If they're going through, like, the crypts are so safe. They're so safe. If they're not, does that not spell bad news for, say, Tyrion, Gilly, Baby Sam? You have Varys is going to be down there. There's a lot of people.
Varys is down there?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
He's not out fighting.
Oh.
What's he going to do? Just
know,
whisper at them.
Throw him a headbutt or something. Shit, I don't know actually. No, see, my answer was yes, but I think Varys might survive it.
Okay, interesting.
Actually, has Varys done anything this season? I don't think I've seen him once so far.
He literally had banter with Tyrion in the opening scene, where it's like, why do you hate dwarf jokes, why do you like eunuch jokes? And Tyrion's like, because I have balls.
Oh yeah, but then we didn't see him after that though.
And that's it, yeah. It was shit bants. Like, we do want more. Like, and he had that chat where they're talking about the proposal with Dany and Jon, but that's about it. Yeah, it's a bit disappointing. What do we think about the crypts? Like, how's that going to go down? Are they safe? Aren't they safe?
They might not be safe, but Tyrion could survive if he decides to get out and fight, because he wanted to fight
originally. And he was at the top of the wall when they arrived, so he didn't run to the crypts, so it's an interesting one. So you think everyone could die, but if Tyrion's not there? I
don't know. I don't know.
That is why we watch the episodes.
It is. That's true. What do we think? Jaime, Brienne. Do we think, how are we feeling about them? That felt like a goodbye to at least one of them.
Yeah, one of them.
Yeah.
Either. Yeah.
I kind of want them both to go to King's Landing, though, just so Jamie can be like, "This is my new girlfriend," like, and just play out that whole thing. Like, just for my own enjoyment, I would like that.
Standing outside Cersei's bedroom, shifting like,
or like when you see your ex and they're with their new person, and you're with your new person, like Cersei and you're on fucking Brienne and Jamie, and it's just like,
and they're just staring. They're talking and acting happy, like,
yeah.
But really, they're staring at each other out the corner of each other's eye, like seeing, is he better than me? Yeah, interesting. Yeah, Euron's just like waving over because he has a hand to do so. Jamie, Brienne, Jorah. It seems like last week was.
I'm not coming next week if that happens. I'm just gonna be in a cocoon of sadness.
Yeah, this like. How would you feel if you lost Cap and Jorah in the same
I
week?
actually wouldn't be able to cope. You know what I was doing last night? I was reading Game of Thrones fan fiction where he has a happy ending.
And you mean a literal happy ending, not like some sort of weird erotic fanfic happy ending. It's like, and he gets a little castle in the field and lives happily ever after.
No, it's more like Khaleesi, but we can't.
He wrote Danny in a jungle.
There you go. In the jungle. Why
I don't know where the jungle came from.
do they have jungles in this world?
It's almost like fanfic is often ill-considered.
Grey Worm and Missandei, your favourite love story, a love story for the ages, Corbin.
Sure.
It seemed like they were saying, it's like they did the whole thing where it's like, after this we're gonna go on.
He gave the whole.
He is so.
I've only got 3 days till retirement.
Yeah.
Speech.
Yeah.
So he's done.
He literally ran out with "I'm dead" over his head. He's running out. He is like a GTA 5 pedestrian running out there. He's just like, he is a sitting duck, man. It's so obvious that it's making me think maybe it's not gonna happen because it's so obvious. But no, like, he might die. Yeah, he probably will die. I'd say he might be the first one to die. Actually, maybe in the first 5 minutes or something like that. I don't know.
We should do a prediction league where it's like you get extra points if you predict the first person.
Do the order.
Yeah. Order of elimination. Yeah. There you go. Do a fucking Royal Rumble style. There you go. Right, Tion. Are you ready to say goodbye, Katie? You're obviously big on Tion.
Yeah, no, I'm ready to say goodbye because I feel like he's will redeem himself.
Right.
Maybe not fully. He did do a lot of really bad shit, but like I think he might die saving Sansa or something.
I will say it is worthwhile keeping Theon alive all this time if he dies in a really meek way. Like the Night King comes up to Bran and he's like, not so fat, and then he just gets his head taken off. I'm like, worth it. Worth sitting through all of those Theon moments just to kill him that way. Amazing. I will stand up and applaud the screen if that happens. That's what I want to see. Jay, how you feeling, Theon?
I don't care.
That's a fair answer. Well, Gendry, obviously, we have gentrification.
Gentrification is coming, so he's obviously going to live.
He's safe. Does anyone else think that we may have said goodbye to him last week? With the whole getting his bit. Is he going to get his bit and split?
Possibly, but I don't know.
He'll hit it and quit it.
It's an interesting one. Sam's not dying.
No, not chance, man.
Sam's right.
Sam might end up on the throne if Tormund doesn't.
Okay.
Bran doesn't.
You can't just end up on the throne. They're not going to go, here's the award for Corporate Keen's favourite character. Sit on it. You are now the king.
Baratheon just ended up on the throne.
Yeah.
So someone decided.
In history, someone at some point surely just ended up there. Do you know what I mean? And that's how the family thing started. It all started somewhere, and I don't see why we can't just start it again now with Sam. No, actually, somebody said it might end in them having a democracy now.
Yeah, I said it.
I'd vote for Sam.
You were there.
Oh yeah, that was you. Oh yeah. Would you not vote for Sam?
I'd vote Sam.
Yeah, I'd vote Sam too. So why wouldn't they?
Uncle Sam. There you go.
There you go. He's gonna end up on throne.
All right.
Oh my God! It's not a global warming metaphor. It's an Uncle Sam.
Make America great again. There you go. Game of Thrones style. Tormund is up there for a death. Like, that could answer the whole Jamie Brienne thing.
No,
that
he's
could be
surviving.
one way.
100% surviving.
Because he reminds you of Eric Rowe.
Him and Brienne are both surviving. Jamie's fucked. That's how it is.
Yeah, I have to agree with Keith.
Okay, interesting.
I think that Tormund has to. I think Tormund makes it through because you need some sort of resolution to that. Or maybe just some weird soliloquy at the end. But I don't know.
Who's going to kill him? He's a fucking tank. You know what I mean?
Literally raised as a giant.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, fair enough. Like, where you?
Shit, no, they killed that giant.
Yeah, one
doesn't
died.
help.
Like Ramsay killed him. Never mind the fucking Night King. Like,
Yeah, but it was Ramsay accompanied by like millions of arrows, wasn't it? Or was it just Ramsay on his own?
yeah, well, millions of dead people are also good. Like with arrows.
Nah, Tormund has this.
All right, fair enough. Katie, where are you feeling on Tormund?
Yeah, I think Tormund is invincible. I think like the Night King could destroy the whole of Westeros, and Tormund would just wander out from under a rock and just be grand. So.
It's me, I'm alive.
Why is Tormund Super Mario?
I do a great. Here's the origin story. I do an amazing Tormund impression. Katie thinks it sounds Italian, so now I just owned it. I'm just leaning into the Italian.
Do the original.
Where's the big woman?
Amazing is a very loose term. I think it's really subjective.
You put me on the spot there. John, you can't be a god. I saw your pecker.
That is Italian as shit, man.
Italian? That's not how Italians sound. Have you ever known an Italian?
That's fucking, I don't know, Mario Balotelli.
You do a John impression. You do a John impression too.
There's no time.
What is
There's no
that
time
like?
for that. I do a mean little finger.
There's really no time for your impression.
There it is. That's it. I feel like you can do a lot of good impressions of Game of Thrones characters. Is there anyone else you've got in the
Well,
locker?
he's done Bran. Spot
Bran
on
is spot
already,
on.
yeah.
John is spot on. Is there anyone else you got in the locker?
I didn't know I had those two together.
You just
No,
went for it.
I don't think so. I would like to. I'm going to try Tormund
Okay.
at some other point. I always find with voices, I'll either nail it immediately or it is lost to me forever. So I'm not going to do that in front of a live audience.
I will get one word in the sentence right. I can do amazing one-word impressions, but the rest of the sentence just falls apart, and it just ends up being a Dublin accent.
Do Littlefinger.
Oh, Sansa. You want me to get tonight to the Vale?
No, not Alexander Dean.
Same person. Same person.
I do his. I always find that you got to say which Littlefinger. Because his accent has changed so much.
Hello, Catelyn. How are you today?
I'm the mayor of Baltimore.
Is Sansa here? Because I want to get the Knights of the Vale. How did that change to that? How did those two things happen? That's not the same person. It's ridiculous.
Faceless man. That theory.
I'm convinced I can do a good Jamie, but I'm not gonna. I'll save that for next week if he dies.
Can't wait.
Do we think Dany's turning heel here? Do we think that
She's
can happen?
already heel.
But officially, now they've planted the seeds. There's got to be a heel turn. It's like Kevin Owens turned heel on SmackDown this week when he fucking he battered Kofi Kingston. Yeah, they set up that whole thing. Yeah, like you have the seeds planted, but then there's got to be the heel turn. Like she turned around to John and was like, John and her never got to resolve that conversation because the horn went literally as John was telling her. Like, there's a possibility where she could just look at John and see like, what if he fell off his dragon? And no one would ever know. And it's just like, oh, well, that just happened to happen. Do we think that there's a possibility of that? Or
Yeah, like she could wait until the battle is pretty much won.
Yeah.
And then do it, and it wouldn't be a problem.
It's an interesting one. What else? Is there any other speculation or theories that we've got?
She could do that to anyone. She could do that to Sansa. She's already said, if she doesn't respect me, out of the way,
I still think she's trying to get over with the fam. I think she thinks she can win through charm.
It's not happening this episode.
All right.
I feel like if the turn happens, it happens at King's Landing.
Yeah.
Where they're like, okay, it's time to kill Cersei, and they're like, is it? Some crazy shit I'm gonna burn them all down. And she's like, you can't burn all those people down.
Yeah,
she's like, I can. I have dragons. No, that's not what I meant.
I could see how it happens where she's standing, she's walking towards the Iron Throne, and her back turns, and then she says something like, or am I? And turns around and does the dramatic heel turn face where it's like, she is evil! Yeah, I could totally see that being the way. So, yeah, I'm not going to go for this episode. The Battle of Winterfell, it's going to be great. Longest battle scene in television or movie history. Although, I don't know, I feel like Avengers could beat it. Avengers is going to be 3 hours. Imagine it wasn't even the longest battle of the week. After all that, they've been building this for months.
Turns out Detective Pikachu is 100-minute Poke battle.
What was?
It's just a screen capture from Pokemon Tournament. What was it? Not Tournament. What was it, Tournament? What was the one where it was on it was like GameCube? And you're in an arena?
The gym? What?
No, oh damn! My Pokemon strength is weakening.
Thank God we're not doing a Pokemon podcast. Or
Yeah, thank God Justy's dried up.
I feel like we have to mention we're been joined in the room by someone else as well.
I was gonna say right. So just a little thing I'm throwing out here. I'm actually betting my entire life savings on my pick for who's going to take the throne.
Right.
So if I win, obviously I get loads.
You're going to bet €6 on who's going to win the throne?
I'm betting my entire life savings, but I don't know who to pick. So I just want to ask, Hyperstreak, I need a name. Who do you think, doesn't matter what name it is, who do you think is taking the throne?
Liam.
Oh, Liam! Here we go, man.
The actual Liam.
The actual Liam is Liam Cunningham, the man who plays Davos.
And that's literally someone I'd be delighted to see take the throne. So you know what? I'm going with Liam. Thank you.
Thanks for that, Hyperstreak. Just hanging out here. Doesn't watch Game of Thrones. Actually, can you share your Game of Thrones opinion? The one opinion you do have.
They need to watch the damn kids. I seen the kids one time. I watched one episode 2 years ago with Jack, and those are some dirty ass kids. So if y'all just want to get some soap and some water and wash your damn kids, maybe that will solve everything. Maybe I don't know, man, but that's my opinion.
Thank you so much.
The winner of Game of Dirty Clothes, Hyperstreak,
comes in at the end and just steals the episode. Amazing contribution. Guys, enjoy the Battle of Winterfell. We'll be back next week. We'll have two special guests. We'll have Justy and Jerry coming in. Is everyone okay there? Hyperstreak? He felt so strongly about it, he threw his phone on the ground. We will have Justy and Jerry coming in to break down the Battle of Winterfell next week. Enjoy it, guys. Enjoy this week. It's going to be emotional. We'll be here to talk you through all of it next week. So until then, thank you so much for joining us, special guest Jay Money.
Thank you.
It's been an absolute pleasure. We need you back on to do a Bran impression sometime, even if it's just to get you in.
I'm going to do nothing but work on it. I'm going to storm in for the season finale, just kick the door in, do a whole scene as multiple characters, drop the mic because Sansa died. And then leave.
I feel like this Sansa, the war for Sansa is just getting started here on Game of Low Blows. Guys, we'll be back next week, but until then, for Katie Harvey, for Corporate Keen, special thank you to Jay Money. I've been Rick Nash, and Hyperstreak killed it, stole the episode. But until next week, now our watch has ended.
High in the halls of the kings who are gone, Jenny would dance with her ghosts, the ones she had lost and the ones she had found, and the ones who had loved her the most, the ones who'd been gone for so very long, she couldn't remember their names. They spun her around on the damp old stones, spun away all her sorrow and pain, and she never wanted to leave, never wanted to leave, never wanted to leave. Never wanted to leave, never wanted to leave, never wanted to leave.